So I've created a feedback video to give you your essay feedback because I think it's really useful to be able to replay it over and over again as you make those improvements to your essays. And this time around you had a choice of questions, 220 markers, the first of which is on the screen at the moment. Odysseus is never made to feel welcome on his travels. How far do you agree? Now, it would be really tempting to perhaps retell the story of the Odyssey here, to narrate a number of episodes and then finish paragraphs off with, and therefore he was made to feel welcome here, or he was not made to feel welcome there. But the problem is you're not really building in any opportunities for analysis or evaluation. And so I always prefer to use a thematic approach, and then the evidence is brought to support as opposed to lead. Now, a theme is just a recurring idea, so it's something you've seen happen more than once in the epic, and therefore you can talk about your evidence in a collective way and make links towards it, between it rather. So that's a more higher order skill. So in this next bit of the feedback video, I want to help identify some of those themes or issues that you could have used to structure your answer. So to start with, you might wanted to have thought about the categories of people, the types of people he meets on his journey, and whether we should really be expecting him to receive a ready welcome from characters that we would think of as barbaric. So the Lystragonians, for example, who were of course cannibals, giant cannibals, and of course Polyphemus the Cyclops. Now both of those end up eating Odysseus's crew. So we don't want to simply just say, and therefore that was not a ready welcome. Instead, we should be thinking along the lines of, if they are not portrayed as civilized Greek characters, should we or Odysseus be expecting them to offer him any kind of xenia? I mean, Odysseus even says on the way to the Cyclops Island, I had a foreboding that a kind of monstrous creature lived there. So he already suspects that, and yet somehow still goes expecting hospitality. So I thought it'd be interesting to look at the non-Greek, the barbaric characters together first. Then you can contrast them with the more civilized Greek-style characters that we would expect to offer good hospitality. The most important example, of course, being the Phaeacians. They offer exceptional xenia with not only the banquet and the entertainment from Demodocus the bard, but also the fact that the Phaeacian games give their guest a chance to show off and to enhance his reputation and his kleos. Where your evaluation or analysis could go a little bit deeper here is thinking about Athene's role in creating this ready welcome. We had some clues that the Phaeacians were a xenophobic people. They live at the ends of the world. They're descendants of Poseidon. All of this is rather sinister when Odysseus first arrives there. And yet Athene orchestrates the most ready welcome she can for him, meeting Nausicaa first and being integrated slowly into the palace. And that would certainly be worth to be part of your discussion here. Similarly, Aeolus, despite his fantasy floating land, we still see that this is a civilized place. He lives in a palace, not a cave like our Cyclops. We see banquets and feasting, and he knows to offer Odysseus a xenia gift as he leaves. So you can contrast these type of characters and why we would be more likely to expect a ready welcome from them with our first category, the barbarians. Some characters fall into a rather more ambiguous place, so Circe and Calypso offer examples of both good and bad hospitality, and it would be worth thinking along the lines of why. So why are they ambiguous? Well, for a start, good hospitality usually equals a good person, a good character, and the same for bad hospitality. So Homer is making these women more complex. We're not meant to know whether Odysseus can trust them. Will they become serious obstacles in his journey home? So they are creating a kind of a temptation for him to overcome. And their show of hospitality is a kind of a mirror on that aspect of their personality. Finally, we should also be considering in this issue of whether Odysseus receives a ready welcome, whether his own behaviour influences whether he does or not. So with Polyphemus, for example, Odysseus has entered the cave without permission. He's also helped himself to the food without being offered it first. And of course, is he really doing, anything different to what the suitors are doing to his own household? And Polyphemus is only avenging himself in the way that Odysseus will also need to do later. So Odysseus has got a lot to answer for as well in the way in which he's treated there by his host. Similarly, when Aeolus refuses to help him again, give him a second Xenia gift when he has abused the bag of winds, that is on Odysseus, or certainly his crew, depending on who you blame for that, having abused that first gift. So that question was much better answered in a more thematic way as opposed to a narrative storytelling way, and would have allowed you to discuss in more depth some of the reasons for why Odysseus is welcomed or is not.